The sky above Earth turned into a strange glowing orange. People across the world looked up, shielding their eyes, their hearts pounding in fear and disbelief. Thousands of ships, more than anyone had ever imagined, floated silently above the atmosphere. The news spread instantly. 9,900 alien vessels had entered Earth's orbit. The sheer size of the fleet was incomprehensible. Each ship was bigger than a city, glimmering with unknown metals and strange lights. Even from space, they blocked the sun in patches, casting large shadows over oceans and continents. In New York, people ran through the streets, crying, praying, or just staring at the sky in shock. Governments scrambled to organize defenses. Military bases buzzed with activity. Radar operators shouted orders as fighter jets and missiles were readied. Yet the world's most advanced weapons seemed like tiny toys compared to the massive alien fleet. At the United Nations headquarters, leaders gathered in an emergency session. For the first time, human nations set aside their disagreements. The President of the United States spoke calmly, but his voice carried the weight of reality. This is not a drill. Every nation must unite. Every city, every port, every airfield must be defended. We are facing a threat unlike anything in history. In a secret research lab under Geneva, Dr. Elena Vasquez stared at screens filled with alien ship schematics. Quantum sensors had detected unusual energy patterns in the ship's engines, patterns that defied human physics. "Their propulsion is unlike anything we've ever seen," she murmured. Her assistant, a young engineer named Leo, tapped furiously on a holographic keyboard. "But there's a flaw. Look here," he said, pointing at a tiny irregularity in the energy output. "It's small, but maybe we can exploit it." Meanwhile, in Tokyo, fighter squadrons were already taking to the sky. Jets climbed through clouds, heading toward the nearest alien ships. The pilots felt their hearts racing, but there was no hesitation. Captain Hiro Tanaka gripped the controls and looked at the fleet. "We're outnumbered 1,000 to 1, he muttered. "But we have one thing they don't: courage." The first attacks came without warning. Alien ships unleashed beams of intense light cutting through mountains, forests, and cities. Entire highways melted into molten metal. Oceans boiled in isolated areas, sending plumes of steam into the air. Humanity had never seen a weapon so powerful. Panic spread, but the human response was immediate. Air defense systems fired missiles. Artillery rained on advancing ships, and the first brave pilots dove straight into danger. Despite the aliens' overwhelming firepower, humans discovered a small but critical advantage. Their attacks, though tiny against the massive ships, caused minor disruptions. One fighter jet, piloted by Lieutenant Sarah Coleman, flew dangerously close to an alien hull. She fired missiles at a junction between two energy conduits. The missiles hit and sparks flew. A small section of the alien ship faltered, spinning uncontrollably before regaining stability. It was not much, but it proved the aliens were not invincible. In London, civilians joined the effort in ways they could. Engineers, students, and even hobbyists volunteered to build makeshift weapons and communication devices. Using captured alien signals, scientists were able to decode parts of the fleet's communication. It was a slow process, but every message decrypted gave humanity a chance. Radio operators in the UK intercepted alien commands and realized they were not entirely automated. The aliens had commanders who could be tricked, surprised, or misled. Cities across the globe were hit differently. Some were razed in minutes, while others survived long enough for evacuation. In Rio de Janeiro, families fled through the streets as alien weapons targeted high-rise buildings. Firefighters and rescue teams worked tirelessly to save people, despite the danger. "We can't give up," shouted a young volunteer carrying a child through smoke-filled streets. "If we survive this, it proves we can face anything." Amid the chaos, a story emerged that inspired hope. A small coastal town in Canada saw an alien ship hovering above its harbor. Fishermen, guided by intuition and courage, launched their boats using nets and traps to disrupt the ship's sensors. It was a primitive tactic, but it worked. The ship wobbled and drifted slightly, buying time for the town's evacuation. News of their bravery spread instantly, proving that even ordinary humans could fight back. Back in orbit, the alien fleet adjusted its strategy. It became clear that Earth was not just a planet to be conquered. It was a planet full of fighters who refused to surrender. Alien commanders issued complex attack formations, attempting to isolate human cities and destroy them one by one. But humans adapted quickly. Using drones, satellites, and clever tactics, they began to anticipate some alien maneuvers. Small victories gave soldiers and civilians alike the strength to continue. At a research facility in India, a team of scientists worked night and day to understand alien technology. They discovered that the ships used a combination of magnetic fields and gravitational distortion to move and attack. By experimenting with human-made magnetic pulses, they found they could cause minor disturbances in alien ships' movements. It was not enough to destroy them entirely, but it gave hope that the fleet could be challenged. In New York, Captain Tanaka and his squadron faced their first full battle. The alien ship above the city descended, its massive shadow swallowing entire blocks. The pilots executed daring maneuvers, dodging beams and missiles. Tanaka fired at a vulnerable section near the ship's engine, and explosions rocked the alien vessel. Civilians cheered from rooftops as news drones captured the event live. For the first time, humanity saw that the invaders could be harmed. The world watched with bated breath as news came in from other cities. In Moscow, engineers used electricity from power plants to create a massive EMP blast, disabling the systems of one alien ship long enough for human forces to destroy it. In Cape Town, a team of scientists managed to create holographic decoys, confusing alien sensors and causing a group of ships to collide in orbit. The victories were small and costly, but each one was proof that human ingenuity and courage could challenge the impossible. By the end of the first day, the scale of destruction was staggering. Millions of people were displaced, entire cities lay in ruins, and the oceans were scarred by alien weapons. Yet humanity had endured. Across the planet, survivors and soldiers alike felt a spark of hope. The aliens were powerful, yes, but they were not perfect. Humans were clever, unpredictable, and united in a way the invaders had never expected. Dr. Elena Vasquez looked at the screens one last time before leaving the lab. "We've seen what they can do," she said to Leo. "But we've also seen what we can do. This is only the beginning." Outside, the sun rose behind the alien fleet, casting long shadows over a battered but unbroken planet. Humanity's fight had just begun, and for the first time they believed they might win. The sky was still filled with ships, and the world knew that the coming days would be even harder. But on that first morning, in cities, towns, and villages around the globe, humans understood something vital. They were not helpless. They were human, and humans, against all odds, never gave up. The morning after the first attack, the world was not silent. The alien fleet still hung above Earth, massive and terrifying, yet humanity was no longer paralyzed by fear. Across continents, people were talking, planning, and preparing. They had seen that alien ships, for all their power, were not invincible. Small victories gave humanity hope, and hope sparked action. In Geneva, Dr. Elena Vasquez and her team worked tirelessly. Using captured alien data from the previous day, they discovered patterns in the fleet's communications. "They're not fully automated," Elena explained to Leo. "The aliens rely on coordination. If we disrupt their communication, we can slow them down, maybe even confuse them." Leo nodded, eyes wide. "So we fight smarter, not just harder." Military leaders across the globe agreed. Pilots, engineers, and programmers came together in a way the world had never seen. Fighter jets and drones were equipped with new software to jam alien signals. Satellites, once used for weather and communication, were now reprogrammed to interfere with enemy targeting systems. The world's best minds had joined forces to save humanity. Captain Hiro Tanaka prepared his squadron for another sortie. This time they would not merely defend, they would attack. "We've learned a lot about these ships," he told his pilots. "We know where their weak points are, and we know how they communicate. We can strike and we can survive, we just have to be clever." His voice carried calm determination, giving his squadron courage in the face of overwhelming odds. The first coordinated attack began above the Pacific Ocean. A group of stealth drones guided by AI and human programmers approached a cluster of alien ships. The drones emitted high-frequency pulses that interfered with the ship's sensors. Meanwhile, fighter jets dove at maximum speed, firing missiles at the vulnerable junctions Dr. Vasquez had identified. Explosions lit up the sky as human ingenuity met alien might. Back on Earth, civilians contributed in extraordinary ways. In Berlin, a team of engineers modified cargo trucks with electromagnetic generators. They drove the trucks near alien ground units, creating localized EMP fields that disabled alien vehicles temporarily. In Mumbai, students hacked into alien communication signals, feeding false data that caused ships to shift positions and collide. Every small act mattered. Every creative solution weakened the enemy just a little. Even ordinary people became heroes. In Rio de Janeiro, fishermen used their boats to create waves that disrupted alien scanning equipment near the coast. In Toronto, volunteers set up mirrors and lasers to confuse alien targeting systems over the city. Humanity was learning to use the planet itself as a weapon. Every natural resource, every city layout, every creative idea became part of the resistance. Yet the aliens were dangerous and adaptive. They responded to human strategies with brutal efficiency. Ships changed formations, beams became faster, and the skies above cities became a chaotic battlefield. Humanity suffered losses, and the news was grim. Entire military bases were destroyed in seconds, but each defeat taught new lessons. Humans adapted, evolved, and tried again. One day, Lieutenant Sarah Coleman led her squadron on a daring mission over New York. They approached an alien ship hovering over Central Park. Using decoys and electronic interference, they tricked the ship into lowering its defenses. Sarah's missiles struck precisely at an engine junction, and the ship shuddered violently. Sparks flew across its hull as it spun out of control. For the first time, people on the ground cheered for pilots in the sky. News drones captured the moment live, humanity fighting back and winning. In space, battles became more strategic. Human forces began using terrain, the asteroid belt, magnetic fields, and gravitational anomalies to their advantage. One fleet of human ships lured an alien group into a narrow asteroid field, where the aliens' size and lack of maneuverability caused collisions. Explosions and debris rained down, destroying multiple ships in a single tactical maneuver. The alien commanders were shocked. No algorithm could predict human creativity. Back on Earth, Dr. Vasquez had a breakthrough. By analyzing alien energy patterns, she created a prototype weapon capable of temporarily disabling alien propulsion systems. Leo and other engineers helped build it quickly, and a squadron of fighter jets was chosen to test it in battle. The plan was risky. Human pilots would be flying directly into enemy fire, but it was humanity's best chance to gain the upper hand. As the sun set over Paris, pilots readied themselves. Captain Tanaka addressed his squadron once more. Today, we do not fight to die. We fight to show them we are not weak. We fight to protect our world, our families, and our future. Stay smart, stay brave, and trust each other. The squadron roared in response, engines screaming through the sky. The mission was intense. Alien ships fired beams that sliced through the atmosphere, and explosions rocked the sky. Yet the pilots executed every maneuver flawlessly. Sarah Coleman released the first prototype pulse. A massive alien ship faltered mid-flight, engines stuttering as the weapon took effect. Human missiles struck, tearing through the hull. The ship spun and fell into the ocean, leaving a massive wake. Humanity had scored a significant victory. Reports came in from all over the planet. A small town in Canada managed to disable another ship using a combination of EMP devices and mirror arrays. In Cape Town, engineers created holographic decoys, causing a group of alien ships to crash into each other. Humanity was learning to use brains over brawn, turning apparent weakness into strength. But the cost was high. Cities were still in ruins, and millions of people had been displaced. Families mourned, loved ones lost in the chaos. Every victory was bittersweet, a reminder of how much humanity had endured. Yet hope spread faster than fear. The world's people had learned a crucial lesson. The aliens were not invincible. They could be defeated, not through sheer power, but through cleverness, courage, and unity. In a quiet moment, Dr. Vasquez looked out of her lab window at the stars. "We've done more than survive," she whispered. "We've fought back, and we will keep fighting." Leo nodded, exhausted but determined. "We have to, for everyone on Earth." Across the globe, Similar feelings spread. Pilots, engineers, volunteers, and civilians shared one understanding. Humanity's greatest weapon was not missiles or guns. It was human creativity, courage, and unity. By the end of the second day, the alien fleet had begun to hesitate. Human resistance had grown smarter and stronger. Aliens that had once seemed unstoppable were now cautious, unsure how to counter Earth's unpredictable tactics. Humanity's counterattacks had made a difference, and the first spark of victory glimmered in the darkness. In orbit, Captain Tanaka and his squadron returned to base. Engines still smoking, hulls scarred, and spirits unbroken, they knew this was only the beginning. "We've shown them we can fight," Tanaka said quietly. "Tomorrow we fight even harder." And below, on every continent, humanity prepared for the days ahead. Every fighter, scientist, and civilian understood the truth. The aliens had underestimated Earth. They had underestimated humans. And underestimation was a mistake no alien fleet could survive. For the first time, Earth was no longer just a target. It was a battleground, and humans had shown they could strike back, survive, and even win. The alien fleet hovered above Earth like a dark storm, but humanity was no longer cowering. Every attack, every sacrifice, and every small victory had taught humans lessons about their enemy. Now the world was ready to do more than just defend. It was ready to take the fight to the invaders. In the skies above the Pacific, Captain Hiro Tanaka led a squadron of fighter jets and drones toward a cluster of alien ships. This time the mission was not just to strike, but to disrupt their formation entirely. The aliens, despite their vast technology, were beginning to show signs of frustration. They had underestimated the humans' ability to adapt. On board one of the command ships orbiting Earth, the alien leader observed the patterns of human attacks. His tendrils of light shifted over multiple screens, trying to process the unexpected chaos. "These humans are unpredictable," he said to his subordinate, his voice mechanical but tinged with irritation. "Their decisions do not follow logic. They are dangerous." Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Vasquez and her team had made a major breakthrough. By combining human ingenuity with captured alien tech, they had created a weapon capable of temporarily disrupting alien shields. It was a small device, but if deployed correctly, it could allow human forces to hit vital systems that had been untouchable before. Lieutenant Sarah Coleman was chosen to test it. She climbed into her fighter jet, scanning the massive alien ship hovering near New York. "This is it," she whispered to her co-pilot. "We can't fail." The squadron advanced, weaving between beams of light and explosions as the device hummed with energy. The moment the device activated, the alien ship's shields flickered. Human missiles struck precise points, ripping through the hull. Sparks and fire erupted from the vessel as it spun uncontrollably, before crashing into the Hudson River. Civilians watching from the rooftops erupted into cheers. For the first time, the alien fleet had lost a major vessel to human tactics alone. Meanwhile, across Europe, engineers and volunteers were working in unison. In Berlin, a team modified trains and trucks to carry electromagnetic generators, creating temporary EMP fields. These fields disabled alien scanning equipment, allowing human forces to launch surprise attacks. In Moscow, hackers used alien communication signals against them, feeding false coordinates that caused enemy ships to collide. Humanity had become a force that the invaders could not predict. Even small towns joined the fight. In Canada, fishermen and townspeople used mirrors, nets, and even heat signatures to confuse alien sensors. One clever tactic caused a ship to hover too low, its engines destabilized by the ocean's waves. The vessel sank, sending shock waves through the alien fleet. People everywhere began to understand a simple truth. Humans could fight back using brains and courage, not just weapons. The alien fleet, frustrated and angered, tried new tactics. Their ships shifted into tighter formations. Beams became faster and more precise, and their attacks more devastating. Entire forests were scorched, rivers boiled, and cities were torn apart. Yet humans adapted quickly. Pilots learned to dodge faster. Drones carried new weapons, and civilians continued to create innovative solutions. Every loss taught a lesson, and every lesson made humans stronger. In India, Dr. Vasquez's team tested a new variation of the shield-disrupting device. This time they combined it with holographic decoys, creating an illusion of multiple targets. When the alien fleet attacked what they thought were human forces, they struck empty space. Human fighters launched from hidden positions, striking at the now exposed enemy. The plan worked perfectly, and one of the largest alien ships was disabled entirely. The news spread worldwide. From Tokyo to Cape Town, humans saw that the alien fleet was not unbeatable. Ordinary citizens began contributing in unexpected ways. Teachers and students helped design traps and camouflage for cities. Engineers built drones and devices to disrupt enemy sensors. Farmers and fishermen used rivers, waves, and natural landscapes to hinder alien movement. Every person had a role and every effort mattered. Captain Tanaka's squadron became heroes. Every mission demonstrated daring tactics that aliens could not anticipate. Sarah Coleman, now a symbol of bravery, led a daring operation over the Arctic Circle. The team used icebergs and reflective ice fields to confuse alien sensors. The enemy ships collided with ice formations, breaking apart in massive explosions. For the first time, humans had not just survived, they had outsmarted a significant part of the alien fleet. On the ground, soldiers and volunteers worked side by side. Cities like London, Sydney, and São Paulo saw human ingenuity at its peak. Barricades, traps, and clever camouflage slowed alien ground units. Drones created illusions of human forces where there were none. Even small acts of creativity, like using mirrors to redirect beams, caused real damage. The aliens, despite their massive numbers and power, were beginning to retreat in some areas. Yet the fight was far from over. Alien commanders regrouped and sent waves of smaller, faster ships to test human defenses. These attacks were brutal, but humans anticipated them. By using combined strategies, decoys, EMP bursts, and coordinated strikes, humans managed to defeat these agile attackers. The aliens were learning, but humans adapted faster, demonstrating the ultimate advantage: creativity. In Geneva, Dr. Vasquez and Leo observed the results of their efforts. "We've never seen them this frustrated," Elena said, pointing to alien data on the screen. "They thought humans would be weak and slow. They didn't expect innovation," Leo smiled. "Innovation, courage, and stubbornness. That's the human advantage." The next major battle took place above the Atlantic Ocean. A massive alien cruiser moved to intercept a human fleet. Using a combination of shield disruptors, drones, and precise missile strikes, humans disabled critical systems on the cruiser. Ships that had seemed invincible were now burning in the sky. The alien commander, observing from his bridge, was shocked. Human tactics defied all predictions and algorithms. Even civilians celebrated their role. Broadcasts showed children cheering pilots, volunteers coordinating defenses, and engineers reporting successful innovations. Humanity was united as one force. The planet itself had become a weapon, and every person was part of the battle. The aliens, who had expected easy domination, were learning the harsh truth: humans would never give up. By the end of Part 3, the world had changed. The alien fleet had lost more ships than it had expected, and human morale was at an all-time high. Soldiers, engineers, pilots, and civilians knew they were not just surviving, they were turning the tide. Captain Tanaka looked at the horizon from his base, where smoke and debris marked the battlefield. "They may have started this fight thinking they were unstoppable," he said, "but they are learning something now. Humans are clever, brave, and united, and that is something they cannot beat." Across the globe, the same thought echoed. Humanity had faced annihilation and had survived. They had learned to strike back, outthink, and adapt. The alien fleet was powerful, yes, but Earth had something even stronger: its people. The planet was scarred, cities were damaged, and millions had been displaced, but hope burned brighter than ever. Humanity was no longer the prey, they were the predator. And for the first time, the aliens knew that Earth would not fall easily. The alien fleet was battered, but it was far from defeated. Thousands of ships still hovered over Earth, massive and menacing, their energy beams cutting through clouds like molten knives. The aliens, frustrated and furious, had decided on one final assault. An all-out strike meant to crush humanity once and for all. On Earth, global leaders and military commanders convened in a secure underground base in Switzerland. The room was tense, yet there was resolve in every face. Captain Hiro Tanaka stood among them, his uniform scorched from previous battles. "This is it," he said. "They're coming at us with everything they have, but we've learned more about them than they know about us. This is our chance." Dr. Elena Vasquez pointed at a holographic map of the alien fleet. We know their formations. We know their weaknesses. If we coordinate across land, sea, and air, we can create traps and ambushes that will destroy their ships before they reach our cities. She paused. But we'll need every resource, every pilot, every weapon. Across the globe, humans prepared. Cities became fortresses. Rivers and mountains were used as natural defenses, and drones and satellites formed a web of detection and attack. Civilians volunteered for support. Engineers built improvised weapons, and scientists prepared more variations of the shield-disrupting devices. Everyone had a role. Humanity was united like never before. The first wave of the alien assault approached the Pacific coast. The fleet moved in tight formations, attempting to overwhelm human defenses with sheer numbers. But humans had learned the art of strategy. Pilots like Lieutenant Sarah Coleman led squadrons that used narrow mountain valleys, cloud cover, and decoys to confuse alien targeting systems. Missile strikes and shield disruptors targeted vital points on the alien ships, causing massive explosions. On the Atlantic front, another human fleet led by Captain Tanaka lured alien ships toward a dense asteroid field. The aliens, expecting a straightforward attack, found themselves trapped among floating rocks. Their massive vessels were slow to maneuver, and collisions destroyed several ships before they could escape. Human forces picked off stragglers with precision, turning the battlefield into chaos for the invaders. In India and Africa, volunteers and engineers created clever traps. Electromagnetic pulses from cities disabled alien sensors temporarily. Holographic decoys lured enemy units into dangerous areas. Even simple measures like creating artificial heat signatures or reflective surfaces caused confusion. Humans were learning to use the planet itself as a weapon. Despite the alien fleet's power, the human advantage grew. Coordination, creativity, and adaptability allowed small groups to destroy larger alien ships. One daring team in Europe used rivers, bridges, and tunnels to lure alien landing crafts into traps, disabling them with precise missile strikes. Civilians cheered as news drones broadcast victories worldwide. The morale of humanity soared, while alien commanders began to realize their calculations had failed. Amid the chaos, personal stories of heroism emerged. Sarah Coleman led a strike team that disabled the energy core of a massive alien ship hovering over New York. The vessel exploded in a dazzling display of fire and metal, lighting up the night sky. Pilots risked everything, yet their bravery inspired millions. Ordinary people coordinated evacuations, provided supplies, and repaired damaged systems, proving that even those not on the battlefield were part of the fight. Dr. Vasquez deployed a new version of her shield disruptor. This time it could target multiple ships at once, causing entire sections of the alien fleet to falter. Explosions erupted across the skies above Europe and the Pacific. The alien commanders, realizing their ships were falling faster than they could control, attempted a retreat. But it was too late. Human forces had trapped large portions of the fleet between ambushes and natural obstacles. The battle reached its climax above the Arctic Circle. Humans had used reflective ice fields, magnetic anomalies, and asteroid fragments to create a labyrinth for the aliens. Ships collided, engines exploded, and debris rained down into the frozen ocean. Every maneuver, every trick, every act of courage pushed the alien fleet back. Humanity was no longer just defending, they were winning. By the end of the final day, the alien fleet was shattered. Thousands of ships were destroyed, and the remaining units were in retreat. Humanity had made a stand against overwhelming odds and prevailed. The world's people looked up at the sky, battered but unbroken, knowing that their planet was safe, for now. Captain Tanaka addressed the surviving pilots and soldiers. "We did the impossible. We fought when it seemed hopeless, and we won. But remember, the fight was not just for survival. It was for every human life, for every city, and for every hope of the future." Dr. Vasquez looked at the stars and whispered, "We've proven something important today, that no matter the odds, humanity will never surrender." The world, battered and scarred, had survived. The skies above Earth were finally quiet. The alien Armada, once a terrifying presence, had been reduced to a handful of retreating vessels, disappearing into the dark reaches of space. Humanity had survived a threat that had seemed unstoppable. Cities lay in ruins, but life continued. People emerged from shelters, and the first rays of the sun reflected off broken skyscrapers and flooded streets. Captain Hiro Tanaka stood atop a rebuilt observation tower in Tokyo, looking out at the city. The memories of the battle were still fresh, the screams, the explosions, the courage. Yet beneath the destruction he saw something extraordinary: human resilience. Children were returning to schools, engineers were repairing power lines, and volunteers were distributing supplies to those in need. Life, despite everything, went on. Dr. Elena Vasquez walked through her lab, now repairing equipment for future protection. Her work had saved countless lives, and she felt a quiet pride. Humanity had faced a force beyond comprehension, yet they had prevailed through courage, creativity, and unity. "This is more than victory," she said to Leo. "It's proof that humans are unstoppable when we work together." Across the world, governments and people reflected on the events. Leaders agreed to strengthen international collaboration, ensuring that the planet could defend itself against future threats. Scientists and engineers shared their discoveries freely, creating a global network of innovation and preparedness. Humanity had learned that unity was more powerful than any weapon. Stories of bravery spread rapidly. Pilots who had taken impossible risks were celebrated as heroes. Civilians who had devised clever solutions to defend their towns were honored. Even small acts like guiding people to safety or repairing equipment under fire became legends. Humanity had not only survived, they had shown the universe what humans were capable of. In the oceans, ships that had survived the battle returned to ports. Fishermen and sailors shared tales of alien craft, brought down by clever traps or natural obstacles. Across continents, the same story echoed. Humans had fought together, and their courage had triumphed. Captain Tanaka received a transmission from New York, where Sarah Coleman and her team had completed repairs on their jets. "We did it," she said simply. "We proved that even against impossible odds, humans can win." Tanaka smiled. "Yes, but remember, the fight was never just about survival. It was about showing the universe that Earth belongs to its people." As the sun rose the next morning, Earth began to heal. Cities were rebuilt, forests replanted, and rivers cleared of debris. Humanity had survived not because of technology alone, but because of ingenuity, unity, and determination. People were stronger, wiser, and more connected than ever before. In a quiet moment, Dr. Vasquez looked up at the stars. A few alien ships might have escaped, but the message was clear. Humanity was not a species to be conquered. The planet had been defended, and the human spirit had triumphed. "We survived," she whispered, "and we will thrive." Children in schools learned about the Great Battle not as a story of fear, but as a story of courage. Teachers spoke of heroes who had faced impossible odds. Engineers shared the lessons of strategy and innovation. Every story, every lesson became part of the foundation for a stronger future. Captain Tanaka flew his jet over the rebuilt cities, waving to cheering crowds below. The world had endured, and humanity had shown that courage, creativity, and unity could overcome any challenge. For the first time in history, Earth had stood against a superior alien force, and the universe had witnessed the strength of humans. In the end, the battle was more than just survival. It was a declaration. Earth belonged to humans. No fleet, no matter how large, could break their spirit. Humanity had fought, learned, and grown stronger. And as the stars shimmered above, every human knew one truth. They would face any challenge, rise above it, and protect their home, because they were human, and humans never give up.